back. We are discussing Azure Synapse Analytics. So far we have discussed the different components of Synapse Analytics and what is SQL pool and what is about this MPP architecture. So we'll continue our discussion on that. We have already shown that picture of this MPP architecture, and here we have discussed about this control node and compute node. So you understand that there are two types of node. There is one control node which is actually connecting with the application, and it has this MPP engine, and through this it connects with different compute nodes, and it just does the work completed, and it gets back the work, the final result, and it shares again with the application or the user connection. And these compute nodes, they take the signal from the MPP engine that they have to do the processing, and then based on the work they have, then they take the data from this storage, and then it does the processing, and once done it gives back to the MPP engine. So that much we have already discussed. Okay, now we have few more points. I am summarizing that. So control node, it is the brain of the architecture. You can understand that it is actually starting the work, and it is sharing the work with multiple compute nodes, and once done it takes it back and gives it to the application. So that's why it's the brain. And then it interacts with all the applications and connections that we have seen, that it connects with the applications as well as through MPP engine it connects with the different compute nodes. And this MPP engine runs on the control node to optimize and coordinate parallel queries. So through MPP engine only this parallel processing is possible. So through MPP engine this work is being distributed to multiple compute nodes and the work gets completed. Okay, so that is about this control node. And then this compute node, it provides the computational power, so it actually does the processing in shared mode, so that's why it gives the computational power. Distributions map to compute nodes for processing. Now distribution is a part of work. So what is distribution, we'll discuss on that. For now you can assume it's only a part of work that is given to the compute node, and number of compute nodes range from 1 to 60. So why 1 to 60, that I will tell you. So there are number of compute nodes as you can see in that earlier architecture diagram, and the number of compute nodes can be from 1 to 60. Okay, so now I'm coming to distributions. This is the basic unit of storage and processing for parallel queries that run on distributed data. So it's kind of the basic unit of storage and processing, means as we are always talking about parallel processing. So I'm talking about that you have a work, and you have 10 friends, and you are sharing the work. So how you are going to share? So here distribution is the unit. Maybe you can tell that, okay, I have total 10 distributions, so I am giving one to each of my friend, or maybe I can have 50 distributions, I am giving 5 to each, kind of. So distribution is the unit of work that I am actually distributing. Okay, when Synapse SQL runs a query, the work is divided into 60 smaller queries. So whenever there is a query, it is actually divided into 60 parts, and each of these 60 smaller queries run on one of the data distributions. So as it is divided in 60 distributions, and these 60 distributions are divided among the compute nodes. So that's why I told you that there can be 1 to 60 compute nodes. So it depends on the number of compute nodes, that how much parallel will be the processing. So you can understand that if there are only suppose one compute node, that means all the 60 distributions, that means the entire query needs to be executed by one compute node. If I have 10 compute nodes, then can be 6 distributions are getting processed by one of the nodes, so obviously it will be faster. And if we have 60 nodes, then what will happen, that one node can have only one distribution, so again it is getting faster and faster. So that's why the number of compute nodes can be from 1 to 60, and based on that there can be the different number of distributions for each compute node. Okay, now how data is stored in the Azure storage. So data is again divided into distributions to optimize the performance of the system. Okay, and there are different patterns of sharding, that is how the data is stored. So there are 3 different patterns. Those are called hash, round robin, and replicate. So what are those? We'll discuss. You understand that as there are different compute nodes, so if the data is together, then it is again difficult, right? So they have to retrieve the data, they have to store the data. So if the data is distributed in different parts, then it will be easier for the DMS to retrieve the particular data set and giving it to the compute node, and once done, it can again gives back the data. Okay, so first we are going to discuss about hash distributed table. It can deliver the highest query performance for joins and aggregations on large tables. So hash distribution is mostly efficient for large tables. Here actually there is a hash function which is used to deterministically assign each row to one distribution. So there is a set of records. So how these records are going to be distributed, that is based on this particular hash function, and it is mostly applicable for large tables. One of the columns is designated as the distribution column. So based on one column that we discuss that, okay, that is the distribution column, and based on the value in that column, this hash function is implemented on that column, and based on that the data is distributed. Each row belongs to one distribution. Okay, and a deterministic hash algorithm assigns each row to one distribution. So it all depends on the value of the column and the hash function. So there is an algorithm that is running, and based on that it divides the rows in different distributions. The number of table rows per distribution varies as shown by the different size of the table. So it all depends on the different sizes of the table, that the number of rows per distribution. So what will be the number of rows in one distribution, that actually depends on the size of the table, of course. So this is one graphical representation of that. So you can see here each table row belongs to one distribution. So this is a table, so it has multiple rows. So maybe I have selected one column. Based on that I am generating the hash function, and based on that value of the hash function, it is going to different distributed table. Okay, so it is going to different distributions. All the rows are going to different distributions based on the hash function. So that's why it is distributed, and that's why the processing gets faster. Okay, so that is one technique. Through hash function I can distribute the data. And now it is another technique, that is called the round robin. It is the simplest table to create and delivers fast performance. Okay, distributes data evenly across the table but without any further optimization. Like it's kind of, suppose I have 60 records in the table, and there are some 10 distributions, so I just take 6 rows and give them just equal distribution. Okay, it's just one by one, maybe it's just round robin. So 1 2 3 4 5 6, then 1 2 3 4 5 6, like that I can just give them numbers, and I can divide in different distributions. Okay, so distribution is first chosen at random, and then buffers of rows are assigned to distribution sequentially, as I told you. So maybe I am just choosing one distribution, and then I am giving it number of rows, then the another distribution giving it some number of rows, like that the distribution happens. Very simple method. Load data into a round robin table, but query performance can often be better with hash distributed table. Okay, so it is telling that query performance always is better, mostly it is better in hash distribution table, and it is always recommended that we should go for hash distribution when there is a very large table, because you know that this optimization and this, we are thinking of optimization performance mainly when we have large tables, right? Because anyway the small tables always perform well, means whatever may be the way you are keeping it, but when it is a large table, then we should go for hash distribution. Joins on round robin tables require reshuffling data because it is not distributed on any rule. So that's why what happens that most of the time we need to reshuffle the data to make the joins working. Okay, then it is another way of keeping the data in different distributions when replicated table. So replicated table provides the fastest query performance for small tables. So it is important that when there is a small table we can go for this method. Table that is replicated caches a full copy of the table on each compute node. So it is kind of, suppose I have some 10 compute nodes. So what I am doing, that if I have one table, then I am keeping the entire copy of the table in this 10 nodes. Means the entire copy of the table is linked to each of the node. So then what will happen, that whenever there is a processing with that table, the compute node, the data is always available with it, right? So it's kind of copying, that's it. Replicated table means you are just making copy of that data and you make it available to everyone. Okay, so that is replicated table. Replicating a table removes the need to transfer data among compute nodes before a join or aggregation. So if suppose there is one table named employee and every node has that table, so whenever there is a join clause it is writing, so if employee table is required, then it does not need to transfer any data from other nodes because this employee table is available with everyone. So it's a common resource, you can say that we all have that resource. So that's why it does not need to do any processing to transfer the data, to look for the data. So of course it is faster, right? But the problem is that if I have a very large table, then it is actually big issue if you want to replicate the table, because it's a huge storage is also required, right? Because when there are very large table, then it will be very actually it is impractical to write the entire data. Suppose I have some 60 compute nodes, so I need to make a 60 copies of that entire large data. So that is not feasible and that is not recommended. So we should go for this replicated table only when we have a very small table. So extra storage is required, of course. It is one point, that unnecessarily I am keeping the same thing everywhere, so it's a duplication of data I'm doing. So that's why extra storage is required, and there is additional overhead that is incurred when writing data, which makes large tables impractical, of course, because we have to write the data everywhere for all the compute nodes. And if it is small table, still it can be possible, but when it is a very large table, then actually it is not possible. So we understood these three types of tables. So hash table is always good for large tables. You should have a very good hash function for that. That is, it makes it efficient processing. And then comes round robin, where we don't have to think of very complex logic for distributing the data, but many times it may need to reshuffling of the data because it's totally random distribution of data. And in replicated table, it is good for small table. Anyway, round robin is also good for smaller tables only. So for large table, we should not consider this round robin or replicated table. So that's how these three types of table data distribution is done. So now we know about this MPP architecture, control node, compute node, and this data distribution, how it happens. Okay. So one more thing is data warehouse unit. Anyway, we have discussed about it, that it is the based on this data warehouse unit, it is decided that how good or how strong your SQL pool is. So Synapse SQL pool represents a collection of analytic resources, right? So it has a CPU, memory, and IO combination. So when I'm talking about performance, I have to think of all of this. And this data warehouse unit actually decides that what I am getting for means what may be the strength of the CPU and memory and IO. So these three resources are bundled into units of compute scale called data warehouse unit. So when we'll create any Synapse Analytics, we'll create one resource in Azure portal, and then we'll see that we can decide on different DWs, and we have to decide based on our requirement only, because you know that as you go for some higher configuration, then the cost is also increasing. Okay, so that's how we conclude with some ideas about the data warehouse processing, which was earlier data warehouse and now which is Synapse Analytics, and we have a fair idea about how it works. And in the next session we will have some hands-on, like we will create some Synapse Analytics resource, and then we'll try to connect and use that resource. Okay, so for now, thank you.